It is now my pleasure to introduce our final featured speaker, who is a 2025 graduate of Brazosport High School, Angel Pina. Angel. Angel was in the top 5% of his graduation class and earned an associate's degree before his high school diploma from Brazosport College. He was the student body president and really excelled in the Business Professionals of America student organization sponsored by Amanda Thede. He was the state vice president of VPA, and he spoke in Washington, D.C. as a representative of our local LULAC. He will be attending the University of Texas in the fall. There are many more accolades I could share with you about Angel, but I asked him to speak because he is a wonderful example of why we do this work that we do as public educators. See, over the years, Angel has experienced homelessness, food insecurities, loss of family members, and he attributes the current success, and he's been with us since kindergarten. Every step of the way, he's been with us. And he attributes much of his current successes to the BISD staff and campuses that he attended. Angel, thank you for being here this morning.
Well, good morning, BISD. How are we doing today?
Good.
Well, my name is Angel Pina, and I am a proud recent graduate of Brazosport High School. Go Exporters! It's truly an honor to be here today, to stand where I once sat as a dual credit student here at Brazosport College. Now returning not just to speak, but to share my story with you all. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Why is a recent high school graduate speaking to a room full of educators? And that's fair. But for those of you who know me, you understand why. You know my story, and you know why I feel so deeply called to share it with anyone who listens. You see, my main purpose today is to share a message, one that I hope reaches just one heart in this room, because sometimes that's all it takes. One moment, one sentence, and one soul who chooses to look a broken kid in the eyes and say, I believe in you. Because that is how I got here today. When I was 14 years old, my world flipped upside down. My parents separated and we couldn't afford our home anymore. We were forced to move into my grandmother's overcrowded house. I didn't have my own room. I didn't have privacy. And over time, I felt like I didn't even have an identity. I walked the halls of high school, carrying a weight no teenager should ever have to carry. I felt lost and I felt broken. But then something happened. Someone, an educator, saw me. They saw past the silence and the pain, and they dared me to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, to take a step, even when I was afraid. And that one nudge changed my life forever. I joined many clubs. I felt small at the time, but stepping into those rooms was one of the scariest things I had ever done. I didn't know it then, but those uncomfortable choices became my greatest motivation for change. Specifically, I joined Business Professionals of America, also known as BPA. I didn't know much about it at the time. I just knew that I wanted to belong somewhere. I wanted to grow, and I wanted to matter. BPA became more than just another extracurricular. It became a sanctuary, a place where my voice slowly got louder, where I began to realize I didn't just exist, I had something to offer to the world. But the truth is, even in that safe space, I felt that struggle. I walked into officer meetings with trembling hands and a pit in my stomach. I saw my peers speak confidently, carry themselves with power, and I felt unqualified in comparison. I battled imposter syndrome every day, constantly asking myself, do I belong here? And then the unthinkable happened. In the middle of my first term as a state officer, I lost my grandmother, my anchor, to stage 4 brain cancer. Grief swallowed me whole, and I began to question everything: my role, my purpose, and my future. I was broken, once again. But through that pain, through that silence, something began to shift. I started to look around and notice the people who stood by me, the educators who believed in me before I could ever believe in myself, and those who didn't just teach subjects, they taught hope. They saw me not as a statistic, but as a leader in the making. And slowly, I began to see it too. It was in that moment that I realized that my passion for true leadership wasn't about titles or achievements. It wasn't about managing people or making history, but it was about serving others. It was about working tirelessly, not for applause, but to help others reach their dreams, even when it meant putting mine last. Because that's what servant leadership is about, and I promise my constituents to keep leading with that kind of heart. That's what it means to put mission first, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching. My BPA journey wasn't about checking boxes. It was about survival. It was about healing. And it was about finding my voice and learning how to use it to be a voice for the voiceless. And now, by the grace of God, I have the incredible honor of serving over 60,000 members across the world as the National Executive Secondary Treasurer of Business Professionals of America. And although that's a great honor in itself, that title doesn't define me. What defines me is the broken kid who once sat in a classroom, praying someone would notice. What defines me is the young leader who still carries scars but chooses to serve anyway. What defines me is the heart I bring to every room I walk into, especially the rooms filled with students who are quietly waiting for someone to believe in them. Because no one succeeds alone. Team always reminds us that support systems matter, that teachers, staff, families, and even classmates can be the lifeline that keeps the student going. I know that firsthand. If there is one thing I want you to take away from my story today, it's this: you as educators hold power, real power, not the kind that comes from a podium, but the kind that shapes generations. Your words matter, your presence matters, and the way you make your students feel matters most. As Dr. Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. You never know when you're becoming someone's lifeline. You never know when your simple, "I'm proud of you," becomes the spark that lights a fire within a child's soul. That's how we build a future-ready generation, not just by teaching content, but by cultivating character, by planting seeds of hope in the hearts of those who may not see their own future yet. I am living proof of that. So as you begin another school year, I challenge you, don't just teach, see your students. Don't just discipline, understand them. And when you meet the broken ones, the quiet ones, the angry ones, the tired ones, look them in the eyes and say, I believe in you. Because that sentence saved my life. And maybe, just maybe, it will save another. Mission first, team always, future ready. Let this mantra guide your steps as you educate the next generation of leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel.